and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of BSing Sports on the BSing Network. I'm Bill. With me, as always, is Ryan. You can see that we have Tim on as a guest again this week for our All-2000's MLB Draft, in addition to the Immaculate Grid. Before we even jumped in the room, we were able to get a comment from Ken Brandt asking what's going on with this Phillies team. So we're going to tackle that question really quickly out of the gate. But first, thank you again to Orphan Rivers for the intro song, the intro music. If you like it, please go to Bandcamp, and check him out. Again, that's Orphan Rivers.
Just one time at Bandcamp.
So what is wrong with this Phillies team? It's pretty simple. It's really easy to digest. They play to their opponent. They play good teams well. They play bad teams bad.
It don't help that your supposed to ace gives up two bombs.
Don't mention that word with that pitcher, please. This isn't 2018.
Jesus, you see that bomb yesterday?
Did you see them both?
It's not an Aaron Nola start without an absolute moonshot by an opposing team, and that is a quote directly from Talking 215. True story.
Having said that, he also gives up these moonshots to the guys that are hitting 198, 168. He's not giving it up to, well, now Bobby Witt Jr. did hit a moonshot off of him last night, but usually it's not even like the main guys in the lineup. It's the people he should be getting out easy.
Crucker hit the nail on the head, too, when he said Bobby Witt Jr. was the Orioles' whole offense. He leads their team in average runs, RBIs, home runs, stolen bases, OPS, on base. His whole offense. What are you doing pitching that guy?
I said it in a text message with you guys.
If you leave a fastball down the middle, there's no reason why the dudes don't take a yard.
Yeah, I said it in the group chat with you guys last night. It is, if he's the guy who's going to beat you, and he's the only guy that's going to beat you, don't pitch to him.
I'm not concerned about them losing one game to the Royals, right? Like, yes, it's a game they should have won.
They did win 6 straight coming in.
But ultimately, like, if they win the series, everything's fine. If they win tonight and tomorrow night, then we're good. However, I think one thing that they could at least try and do to get Nola somewhat on track, put Stubbs in on his starts.
Yeah.
You got to shake. You got to do something at this point.
I would agree with that. Change it up. Just do something to change up the repetition.
Yeah, I like that.
But now that we've gotten the Phillies, okay, Tim.
What?
You started to say something.
No. The old man said I can hit that pitch. I'm like, yeah, I can.
No, he can't. Let's just get that out of the way. No, you can't.
I think Tim could. Tim ended up being an okay hitter his senior year.
Okay.
He was all right.
I was hitting ground ball doubles left and right. Warning track power.
It's all right.
Sorry.
Warning track power, man.
Let's get into the Immaculate Grid this week. Thank you for the guys over at Immaculate Grid for giving us something to talk about on our show. We appreciate you.
This grid threw me for a Barry Zito, Clayton Kershaw, some of the best curveballs you've ever seen in MLB history type curveball. Because I was expecting players and teams. Not it this week.
It's funny. It's actually funny that the grid is like the way it is this week, specifically because we're obviously doing a ton of research on players for our All-2000's, 2010's team. So a lot of the names that are going to come out of our mouths right here for the grid are likely on the sheet. Some of them are already on the sheet that we've done research on. Not to mention we did the research today, so it's relatively fresh in our brains.
So for those of you listening, because this will be on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, down the left side of the grid, we have 500-plus home runs for a career, batting, of course, a Silver Slugger, and an MVP. And across the top, we have 300 average for career, batting, of course, Gold Glove, and Hall of Fame.
So we mentioned somebody right off the get-go. They can be in all 3 categories right down the middle.
Can we do my guy first?
Let's do your guy, and then we'll come back to that one.
I've been wanting to use Harmon Killebrew forever in a category. He fits the 500 career home runs. I think it was 573, and he's a Hall of Famer, so go ahead and send it.
4% on Harmon Killebrew.
That's going to be quite popular. Like 4% for the amount of people that can fit in that category. I feel like that's a pretty popular pick.
I would agree. All right, let's roll over to the other guy that we said would again fill up all 3 of the center categories this year. It's Barry Bonds. He obviously won a Gold Glove, more than one Gold Glove. He's got more than 500 career home runs. Obviously, he's the all-time home run leader.
Let's use him for gold. Yeah, which category do you think we could get the best rarity score out of him for?
I think it would be 500 Gold Glove. Not a lot of people remember that he won Gold in Pittsburgh.
Well, I mean, of course, that he would fit the whole middle category. So it's does he fit better with 500 home runs, Silver Slugger, or MVP?
Well, I think
Maybe the
everybody knows
MVP.
home runs. He probably won a Silver Slugger the year he did it. So I think any one of them is going to be high rarity. But I think people will jump on the 500 career home runs because they all know he hit more than that. So I think maybe Silver Slugger.
Let's do Silver Slugger.
Timmy, do you deny?
No,
Just-
no, that's fine.
3%. That was a good look. See, that was
Okay,
good.
fine.
So for 500
I'd like
career
to
home
point
runs
out
and Gold
before we
Glove,
got on, that was my pick.
It was. You're right. Congratulations, Tim.
So, and I pointed out before we got on that potentially Willie Mays for Gold Glove 500 homers. I know he hit 500 homers. I know he hit Gold Glove, but what's our rarity score going to look like here?
Ready and go at 15. Ooh, that's rough.
15.
15%. All right, 300 career
Yeah, it's not
batting
terrible.
average. What? The delay is killing me here.
What'd you say, Tim?
I said not terrible.
No, but I think given the circumstances of how many people could fit in that spot, 15% is going to be a little bit higher than it normally looks like.
Let's tackle 300 career average plus 500 career home runs.
You know what I was
I
just
have
thinking about? Would have been really OP for a Gold Glove, Silver Slugger if we had picked a pitcher that did both.
Sheh.
That would have been legit.
Bumgarner,
I don't think Bumgarner ever won a Gold Glove. Wainwright, maybe,
maybe Wainwright.
but
Pitchers who hit? Smoltz, Glavine?
no.
No.
What about an MVP and a pitcher?
MVP pitchers that won. Okay, so MVP pitchers aren't very common anyway. I don't know that Verlander ever won a Gold Glove.
Yes, he did. We had that on the show last week. He had one Gold Glove and he had the MVP season.
If you are 100% confident in that, let it fly.
I am not 100% confident in that. I'm just trying to use my brain and say.
All right, we'll come back to it. Let's finish up that top row there. 500 home runs, 300 average. This could be a lot of people.
Any guesses, Tim?
No. Drawing a blank.
I don't think Hank Aaron hit 300 for his career.
Did Pujols hit 300 for his career?
Nope.
No.
He is down to 296.
A-Rod was
Last year killed him.
Yeah, it did. Alex Rodriguez, was he a career 300 hitter? I think he
I
was.
don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so
No.
either.
Okay.
I'm not looking.
I'm not looking.
And I'm trying not to look at our draft. I don't think he was.
What about Barry Bonds? Not Barry
We already
Bonds.
used him.
We already used him.
Babe Ruth. I'm sorry.
I mean, Ruth definitely clears 500 homers.
Don't know that he clears 300 average, though.
How many home
Yogi
runs did
Berra?
Ted Williams?
319,
Yeah,
I
I was
think.
about to say it's 344 or something like that.
I had a name and it went away. I hate when that happens.
Ken Brandt said McCovey.
Willie McCovey, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know that he hit 300. I know Stargell didn't hit 300.
What did
Okay, well,
Manny Ramirez? How many home runs did he hit? Like 450. That doesn't.
no, he hit over 500.
Did he? He has
555.
and he has a career better than 300 average. I
He
know
might.
he does. He does. It's Manny Ramirez. That's
Yeah.
where we're going. And 4% with Manny Ramirez. That's a good pick. Good job, Tim. I'm glad you brought that one up.
Okay, so 300 career average in Silver Slugger. Ed Williams.
No. Silver Slugger came out later. Remember, we did this.
Oh, yeah.
We did the research on
Tony
this list.
Gwynn.
It's cake. Tony Gwynn.
Did Ichiro win a Silver Slugger?
Yeah.
Which one do you think would be less common?
Gwynn did it longer ago.
Sure. I've seen Ichiro be a very popular pick.
27% on Tony Gwynn. That's my
Ooh.
fault.
Proud of you.
I want to know what Ichiro was.
Well,
How you
hold on.
doing online?
Ichiro could fill some.
I just want to know what he was there.
Okay, let's get these MVP and Hall of Fame, dude. We got to go with my boy Carl Yaz.
Carl.
Any opportunity given, I always use Carl Yastrzemski.
1%.
because nobody ever remembers Carl Yastrzemski. He never played for multiple teams. Spent his entire 23-year career with the Red Sox.
Bill Ichiro with 13%.
Okay, so we should have gone with Ichiro.
Shit happens. We'll just blame Bill.
That's fine. MVP with a 300 batting average. Freddie Freeman.
Too recent.
Okay. Bobby Abreu.
Never won an MVP, actually.
That is accurate, yeah.
Joey Votto.
He's hitting under 300 for his career.
Okay.
When did the MVP award become a thing?
I think we figured that out too. I think it was like 55 or 56.
I'm going to Google search that real quick.
Okay.
When did the MLB
Gold Glove MVP.
become?
So they just had to have won a Gold Glove and an MVP at the same time. In that case, I'd like to go Buster Posey.
MVP award started in 1931.
Yeah. I think I'd like to go Buster Posey, Gold Glove MVP.
We could do that. Because he only won one Gold Glove.
You know he goes with the 300 batting average too.
Well, now he's 3% where I put him.
He'd 1% in the MVP.
Is he? You did that for us?
Yeah.
All right. Well, 3% is still really strong.
MVP 300 career average. When did Ty Cobb retire? It was in the late 30s. Shoot from the hip. Ty Cobb.
Ty Cobb.
I like it.
1928.
Nope. Don't do it.
Yeah, not doing that one. Ty Cobb retired in 1928. For those of you paying attention.
What did Jimmy Fox hit for his career? Was it over 300?
I think it was like 299. I think it was that close though.
It was very close. Silver Slugger Hall of Fame. Let's get that one out of the way. That could be a whole list of people.
Ken Griffey Jr.
Sure, man. Oh wait, is the kid? Yeah, the kid's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, 8% on the kid.
That's actually
That's
a
pretty
lot
good.
more than I thought it was going to be.
It's still pretty good. I mean, listen, Tony Gwynn, mine was the worst of it at 27%. That's my bad.
Proud of you.
My 2 picks were combined, or 3 picks were combined 20%, so that's not bad.
And then, MVP 300 career batting average.
I
All
mean,
blanks here.
Harper did it.
Career.
In the
Yeah, but
national.
Harper's only hitting 280 for his career.
It's got to be career batting average.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. My fault.
I mean, I know for a fact Ted Williams fits the spot, but
Are we being stupid? Should we just use Ichiro?
either Ichiro or Ted Williams.
Williams was.
I've seen Ichiro be quite popular with some of the picks on these grids. Like, if you go down and look at the summaries, like MVPs and 300 averages, which I've seen before on this grid, I think Ichiro was a very popular pick.
Okay, let's try and hold off on that, though. At least we have a name. We will fill out the grid.
What was Ripken's average?
It was
260.
280 something, 270 something. It wasn't good.
No, Ripken is known because of the Iron Man situation where he played in 1,700 straight games or whatever.
Iron Man. Lou Gehrig. When did he retire?
42, 43, 39.
Did he win an MVP between 1931 and 1939?
Definitely.
Go for it.
2%. Lou Gehrig. Got a boy.
You said Iron Man, and I was like, the original Iron Man is Lou Gehrig.
Yeah.
66, and it's our first grid filled out on this show. So
Thank you again for those of you over at Immaculate Grid for giving us something to talk about. We appreciate y'all. All right, getting off of the Immaculate Grid, let's talk about our draft. Ryan is going to bring that up.
yeah, so if you weren't with us last week, we started a decades draft where we started in the 2010s, and this week we have the 2000s. Now, some players, this was tough because some players Obviously, there were great players throughout the 2000s that didn't make this list, right? That doesn't mean they weren't great. And there were some players on here that we left out for another decade, the 90s. So if you're looking for Roger Clemens, if you're looking for Barry Bonds, if you're looking for Chipper Jones, if you're looking
Smoltz,
for
Maddox,
Mike Piazza, if you're looking for Smoltz, Glavine, Maddox, they will be in the 90s. So we do have a whole other decade there. We just got to spread around the wealth here a little bit. But I looked at this grid, and I'll ask you guys this before we get started. What was the number one thing that jumped off the page at you with this player pool versus the pool we had for the 2010s?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to fire away with the answer on this one. I said it to you earlier because you said it in the group chat, and it's the most obvious thing. Versus last week's player pool, the interior infielders are significantly better in this one.
Yep.
Okay. So, yeah, for me, it was the talent gap from who I had at the top. Last week, there were some very obvious positional advantages like Troy Tulowitzki over the other shortstops that you could have gained. The talent gap is much, much smaller, and I'm sure it'll get even smaller when we go to the 90s. That being said, I already gave these answers away, so questions for the crowd, questions for
Bummer with a 2-run shot.
But questions for Tim as well. With the players shown on, and I'll go through that list, and I'll give you guys the questions beforehand before I list off the players. How many Hall of Famers do you think we have in this group? How many collective MVP awards are there? How many collective Cy Youngs are there? And how many total All-Star game appearances? So with those in mind, here's the list of available players. For catchers, we have Victor Martinez, Joe Mauer, Jorge Posada. At first base, we have Lance Berkman, Todd Helton, and Albert Pujols. At second base, we have Jeff Kent, Alfonso Soriano, and Chase Utley. At third base, we have Miguel Cabrera, Alex Rodriguez, David Wright. Shortstop, we have Derek Jeter, Jimmy Rollins, Miguel Tejada. Left field, we have Jason Bay, Matt Holliday, and Manny Ramirez. In center field, we have Carlos Beltran, Jim Edmonds, Andrew Jones. Right field, Bobby Abreu, Vladimir Guerrero, Gary Sheffield. Designated hitter, Frank Thomas, Jim Thome, David Ortiz. Pitchers, Chris Carpenter, Roy Halladay, Randy Johnson, Pedro Martinez, CC Sabathia, and Johan Santana. For those of you that didn't tune in last week that are in this week, we have a draft order starting with Bill at 101, Tim at 102, and then I get the 103, and we go in snake order. And we can only draft one player from each of the positions, except for pitchers, we get two. So got to think about the strategy ahead of time because you could potentially be left with one catcher and Tim doesn't have a catcher. So now he doesn't have to pick a catcher until the 11th round because everybody else did the work for him. So with that being said, Tim, how many Hall of Famers do you think are in this group?
That's tough because some of these players belong in the Hall of Fame, but they just retired like last year or a couple years ago. But right now, I want to say maybe 6, 7.
Which one, 6 or 7?
Give me 7.
It's 6. The answer is 6.
7. Very good.
Let's go.
Okay. How many collective MVP awards do you think there are?
Oh, God.
Hold on. Hydrate thing. I need to see the comments.
It's dead. He's
man, I don't even know. MVP. So we got 1, 2.
Yeah, Ryan actually gave me the number before, and even I was impressed.
4, 5, 6, 7. Give me 12.
You were so close. It's 13.
Dang.
How many collective Cy Youngs are there? And do you think it's more or less than the MVPs?
I think it's
Mind you, there's only 6 pitchers.
Yeah, but I know some of them 1, 2, or 3. Give me 14 Cy Youngs.
Final answer?
Yeah.
14 it is.
I'm
Now,
surprised I'm doing this.
Here's the number I know you're not going to get, because if you get this, you're cheating.
I was still 20 off, and I guessed pretty high.
How many collective All-Star game appearances are on this list of players right here?
I'd like to point out I'm not cheating because you just showed me this. I'm doing all by guess. All-Star appearances?
Yeah, collective. I guessed. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you.
I'll tell you, it's over 200. You don't have to hear Bill's guess. The number's over 200.
Give me 260.
You were a bit high.
231.
Okay.
So in this player pool, we have a pretty good player pool. 231 All-Star appearances, 14 Cy Youngs, 13 MVP awards, and 7 Hall of Famers. And that's just right now. Some of these guys are still on the ballot. Please get in, Todd Helton. That being said, Bill, you are on the clock.
Listen, I kind of went back and forth on my 1A guys here. The two people it was between were Randy Johnson and Pedro Martinez. Randy Johnson has a 101.1 wins above replacement, 329 career ERA, 303 wins, 166 losses, 4,800 plus strikeouts, 1.171 whip. He's a Hall of Famer, 5-time Cy Young winner, 10-time All-Star, 4-time ERA title, 1-time World Series champion, and he was the World Series MVP the year that he won. Pedro Martinez, on the other hand, 83.9 WAR, wins above replacement, 293 ERA, 219 wins, 100 losses, 3,100 plus strikeouts, 1.054 whip, 3 Cy Youngs, 8 All-Stars, 5 ERA titles, a Hall of Famer as well, and also 1 World Series. So it was really close, 1A for me on these guys. I'm going Randy Johnson, though. Just the length of his career. I mean, listen, we did the math on it. You said it was, what, 20 years for Randy Johnson?
It was a very long time for Randy Johnson.
Yeah. And it was 16 years for Pedro Martinez. So they were really close for me. It was a really tough decision. Ultimately, what I went with was the 101 wins over replacement. Because when you consider that he was also facing the same guys on this list, it's kind of a big deal. So for me, it was Randy Johnson, and that's my first pick.
Okay, that's a good first pick. Tim, you are officially on the clock at 102. Yeah. Who you going? Randy Johnson's a solid pick.
I thought about taking a pitcher here, but I think I'm going to take a home run leading advantage in the first baseman. Oh, no.
Yeah, I wonder who you're going to pick there.
I want the batting average advantage. Todd Helton.
You want Helton?
Okay.
Yeah. I want the batting average advantage right there.
Look, man, Todd Helton's one of the most underappreciated players of the decade. We're talking about a guy, right? He's hit .316 for his career, slugged on base at .414, slugged .539. His slugging percentage only .005 behind Albert Pujols'. 369 career home runs, a 61.8 WAR, and to top it off, he has more Gold Gloves than the other two candidates, so you're getting the best defensive first baseman as well. I don't hate that pick. First base in this it was loaded, so I don't think that there was any really wrong picks, but you're definitely gaining an advantage in the batting average department and the defensive department. Nothing wrong with that.
Tyler, if you missed the beginning of the show, you asked, where's Barry Bonds? Ryan went into that right before we got started. Bonds is going to be in the 90s when we do the 90s. We understand that he had a prolific career throughout the 2000s, but we want to really dive in and give him his career numbers, but we're going to put him in the 90s.
Yeah, we don't want to put guys in multiple decades because, there were plenty of good players in the 2000s and the 90s and the 80s. So we're trying to stick to one decade, and Barry Bonds played throughout the entirety of the 90s, so it feels more
correct.
Better to put him there.
But Tyler, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate you tuning in here, bud.
All right, so I'm officially on the clock at 103. This, to me, was the biggest positional advantage I could find on this list, so I'm going to go ahead and jump right to it. A lot of star-studded players, but I think Manny Ramirez is a cut above the rest of the left fielders on this list. We're talking about a guy that 12-time All-Star, 9 Silver Slugger awards, hit .312 for his career, got on base at a .411 clip, .585 slugging percentage, OPS just under 1,000 at .996, 555 career home runs with a 69.3 WAR, which, if you weren't here last week, was wins above replacement. Wins above replacement is identified as, how many wins it's a mathematical formula. It comes down to how many wins do you contribute to your team. And on top of that, another, more recent metric, OPS plus at 154. That basically is measured at 100 is an average baseball player given the types of pitchers that they face, the ballparks that they play in. It's a stat that collectively takes their OPS versus, the ballparks they play in. That's why Todd Helton only has a 133 OPS compared to the other first baseman. He was aided a little bit by being in Coors Field. So Manny Ramirez, statistically 154 OPS plus, means he was 54% better than an average baseball player, which is a very good number.
Yeah, I like the Manny Ramirez pick. For everything that you just said, it's a really good pick. I do have a bone to pick with the Philadelphia Phillies right now. Their base running has been atrocious. Bryce Harper just got thrown out by 30 freaking feet trying to get home from second on a hard line drive.
Anyway, I'm back on the clock at 2:01.
Sorry, bud.
I'm going to go with the best pitcher available, and I think that includes Randy Johnson. I'm going with Pedro. So it looks like I'm building the all Red Sox team here. But to me, the big difference for me, look, Pedro Martinez is also a Hall of Famer. 3 Cy Youngs, 8 All-Stars, 5-time ERA title, career record of 219 and 100 with a sub-3 career ERA and a 154 ERA plus, which is essentially the same thing as OPS plus, but for pitchers. And where Randy Johnson didn't have to do this, Pedro Martinez had to run through the Yankees how many times a season for how long? And that Yankees lineup was daunted, and he owned them for a large portion of his career. And I wish I had these numbers available right in front of me, but Pedro Martinez was also a significantly better postseason pitcher than Randy Johnson was. Look, he finished with a 3.46 ERA career in the postseason, which is good. It's not great. It's not 2.93. But Randy Johnson, I mean, there were times where in the postseason he would pitch to like a 5 ERA, 6 ERA. It was just very inconsistent for me. So to me, I'm taking Pedro Martinez. I think that the postseason consistency is better with him versus Randy Johnson. But it was really about the Yankees lineup and the fact that Pedro regularly faced an elite level lineup.
Tim, you were on the clock.
Yes, sir. I am looking at a couple of stats. Oh, man. As much as it hates me, I think I'm going to take Derek Jeter at the shortstop position. I think he'd
Jeter, the captain. You're getting good leadership there.
Yeah, he got a batting average than everyone else on that. He got a couple Gold Gloves. He got Silver Slugger Award.
Yeah, so Derek Jeter's numbers look like this. Hall of Famer, Rookie of the Year, 14-time All-Star, 5-time Gold Glove Award winner, 5-time Silver Slugger, 310 career hitter with 260 home runs, 358 stolen bases, and a 115 OPS plus. So a little bit of power, a little bit more speed. It's a great all-around pick. And I think that that's another positional advantage. I do think that Derek Jeter is a cut above both Jimmy Rollins and Miguel Tejada. So I think that that's a big W and a good pick for you.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That puts me on the clock. And I get back-to-backs. I'm going to go with the third baseman here. And I know that, the guy I'm taking has a ton of, off-field stuff because of the steroids and then the whole suspension and everything. But I'm going with Alex Rodriguez here as my third baseman. Listen, 117.5 wins replacement, 295 batting average for his career, 696 home runs, over 2,000 RBIs, in addition to the fact that he had 329 stolen bases, a 380 on-base percentage, 550 slugging, 930 OPS, and a 140 OPS plus. 3-time MVP, 14-time All-Star, 1-time World Series champ, 2-time Gold Glover, 10-time Silver Slugger, and he won a batting title once. For me, this, especially in the second round, the end of the second round, I think this is a really solid pick. So I'm going A-Rod here.
Yeah, prime A-Rod was power and speed.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking 329 stolen bases and almost 700 home runs. Like, you don't find that on the corner. 3-time MVP. It's, that's all around baseball right there. So that's a great selection there in the second round.
And then I get to follow that up with, do I want to go for just straight home runs here? No, I don't. Let me get that out of the way. Just far and above, just far and above, just far and above the people around him.
Got some scheming going on here.
Just a little bit. I'm going to go with a DH here.
Okay. Breaking the DH barrier.
And it's a guy who played for, the Indians and the Phillies. He's got 612 career home runs, 73.1 wins above replacement, 276 career average, almost 1,700 RBIs, a 402 on-base percentage, 554 slugging percentage, 946 OPS, and a 147 OPS plus. He's a Hall of Famer, 5-time All-Star, and a Silver Slugger once. That guy is Jim Thome.
Thome's a baller, man.
Yeah, I mean, when you look back on his career, listen, his time in Philadelphia was a little bit weird because they had Ryan Howard coming up, and they knew they had Ryan Howard coming up.
I think I'll always resent Jim Thome a little bit because he held Ryan Howard down about 3 years too long.
He did, yes, and it ended up affecting Howard's career. It could have been much better. But listen, when he was in the plate, when you were at the ballpark and Jim Thome was at the plate, you knew something big was going to happen. You just felt it. And he took that attitude and that feeling through his entire career. Like I said, 612 home runs is nothing to scoff at. Just under 1,700 RBIs, and then the slugging of 554. I really like that as well. So yeah, DH Jim Thome for me.
Excellent pick, Tim. You're on the clock at 3:02.
I want to break the barrier with Joe Mauer.
Joe Mauer, baby.
Mauer.
I think he's the best catcher on the list.
Yeah, he got a 306 batting average, 143 career home runs, 3-time batting titles,
Putting in some research.
5 Silver Sluggers.
3-time Gold Glove Award winner, too.
Yep.
He's the best defensive catcher on the list. So that's one of the other things I noticed from this list to last list is the catchers defensively are worlds better last in the the most recent decade than they were in the 2000s. I mean, from a caught stealing percentage, Joe Mauer has the best of this group at 33%, which was the worst number of the last group. So, while yes, that's a solid number, thrown out 1 out of every 3 runners. What's that say about the other guys?
Yeah.
But yeah, Mauer's an excellent pick.
Yeah, I like the Mauer pick.
MVP in 2009. You can't go wrong with it. So just smooth hitting, man. Awesome pick. So it's me at 3:03.
Yeah, Ken Brandt, that was a nice play by Turner. It's nice to see him make one of those plays.
Man, that one was tough. All right, so
I see you got.
I'm going to go with.
So you can see them.
I'm going to go with another. So this one was surprising to me because when I wrote down the list of center fielders, I had Carlos Beltran at the top. I was like, "There's no way that anybody is better than him." Out of these names, like. It just sticks out to me that Beltran was the best center fielder available, and then I dove into the numbers. Not to take anything away from Andrew Jones or Jim Edmonds. They were fantastic baseball players. But collectively, when I looked at the numbers and remembered what I remember about these guys, Jim Edmonds is the best center fielder of these 3.
He is.
We're talking about a guy who hit 284 for his career, 376 OBP, so the gap between average and on-base percentage tells me that he walked a lot. And he also slugged 527, which was significantly better than both Beltran and Jones. He hit just shy of 400 home runs, had a 132 OPS plus. And here's the stat that, really brings it home. While not more than Andrew Jones, he had 8 Gold Gloves too. So 4-time All-Star, won a Silver Slugger, 8 Gold Gloves. I'm getting a guy who can hit and play great defense. I mean, we all remember that over-the-shoulder catch when he played for the Angels. I'm going Jim Edmonds here in the 3rd round. And then to loop it back, right field's easy. There's still 2 pitchers up there I really like. I'm gonna break the barrier for second baseman here.
Jeff Kent.
Yes, it is going to be Jeff Kent because
he was coming off. He made it back to me.
Look, I like Chase Utley. Obviously, I'm a diehard Phillies fan. I love what he did for the team.
He's the worst on the list.
I disagree with that. Jeff Kent is substantially a better hitter than Chase Utley was. Look, is he the all-around baseball player was? No, because Chase Utley could also run. He played a little bit better defense. However, Jeff Kent is a 5-time All-Star with 4 Silver Sluggers who hit 290 for his career and has almost 400 home runs at 377, which is unheard of for a second baseman to slug 500 for your career. And the fact that, he's not in the Hall of Fame is embarrassing. So I'm going to go Jeff Kent as my starting second baseman here.
Tim, you are on the clock. I won't lie to you. The Jeff Kent pick is really, really good. I don't know if you guys could hear me mumble it to Ryan when he took him. I said if he was still on the board when he got back to me, I was taking him. So I agree that's a great pick there with Jeff Kent. Go ahead, Tim.
I think I'm going to stick with the second baseman and give me
That means I don't have to pick one.
Alfonso Soriano.
I love Soriano, but man,
Listen, 28.6 wins above replacement, not a great number. 270 batting average, 412 home runs, 1,159 RBIs, 289 stolen bases.
Power and speed was there, but
Correct.
It was the consistency of it.
Also correct. He's got a 319 OBP, 500 career slugging, 819 OPS, 112 OPS plus. 7-time All-Star, 4-time Silver Slugger. He played on some really bad teams.
Yeah, well, he played for the Yankees too on some pretty decent teams, and then the Cubs teams he played on.
The Cubs, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't hate the pick. I think Chase Utley was definitely the more consistent of the second baseman between those
I'm happy
two.
with taking Utley.
But
Thank you.
it's Alfonso Soriano that gives you top of the lineup speed and power that probably isn't anywhere else on this list. So.
Yes. All right, so it's back to me. I think I'm going to take another pitcher here, but let me just confirm. Can't really read that. Who do I have already? I got Johnson, A-Rod, and Tomey. All right, I am going to go pitcher with my next pick. And listen, I know he doesn't have all the accolades, but, man, he was dominant. We got to see him in a Phillies uniform. I'm going Roy Halladay here, Doc Holliday.
He doesn't have all the accolades.
He doesn't have as many accolades. But he does have a 64.2 wins above replacement, 3.38 career ERA. That really exploded his last season in the league. 203 wins to 105 career losses, 2,100 strikeouts, 1.178 WHIP. He's a Hall of Famer, 2-time Cy Young winner, 8-time All-Star. The only knock on he does in fact have a perfect game and a playoff no-hitter.
One of the 2 playoff no-hitters in MLB history.
Correct. So I'm definitely taking Roy Halladay here. And I don't think it's really – I mean, you're talking my 4th overall pick is Roy Halladay. That makes me feel pretty good. Sliding down the list.
Yeah. Roy Halladay, where I brought up Pedro dominated those Yankees lineups. Roy Halladay pitched against those same lineups, and he pitched against the Red Sox lineups of that era too, which were very good lineups at that time. And that's where he spent a majority of his career in the AL East, pitching against 2 very good teams for the largest portion of his starts. So, and he was as dominant as he was.
I think I'm going to break the right field barrier here. We're going to dive right in. Oh,
right field was tough for me.
This is tough. I'm looking at
That's why I keep skipping on it. I'm waiting for somebody else to make a decision.
All right, I'm going to go Vlad Guerrero here. Ryan said it. The right field category with Vlad Guerrero, Gary Sheffield, and Bobby Abreu was all really tough. But Vlad, 59.5 wins above replacement. He played for a really, really bad Expos team for a long time. 318 career batting average, 449 home runs, 1,500 RBIs, 181 stolen bases, 379 OBP, 553 slugging, 931 OPS, 140 OPS plus. He's a Hall of Famer, 1-time MVP, 9-time All-Star, and an 8-time Silver Slugger. It's the 9-time All-Star, 8-time Silver Slugger that put him over the top on the other 2 guys for me. Just in those categories alone, that's why I've got Vlad ahead of them.
Yeah, he couldn't really go wrong with Vlad. I mean, Abreu maybe a little bit, but none of these guys are on this list for their defense, really.
Yeah, correct.
All right. 5:02. Tim, you are on the clock.
Every category has been broken into.
And only one category
is closed. Sort of. I mean,
yeah, you officially have to make
I get Chase Utley. I'll talk about him later, but yes.
Give me Gary Sheffield.
Gary Sheffield?
Damn.
All right. Yeah. Listen, I like it. 60.5 wins above replacement, 292 career average, 509 home runs, 1,676 RBIs, 253 stolen bases. Ryan can give you all the other details on it, but 9-time All-Star, 1-time World Series champion, 5-time Silver Slugger, and he won a batting title. OPS and OBP stuff. Got
Yeah, I mean, OPS plus is the same exact number as Vladimir Guerrero Senior, at 140 OPS plus. Just as many All-Star appearances, 292 average, walked a ton, had a better OBP, 500 homers, 250 steals, so the power speed was there. That's an excellent pick. It was tough for me between Abreu was a good player, but it was tough for me between those two to decide, and unfortunately, I don't have to decide anymore.
it actually makes it a little bit easier when you don't have to decide.
Yeah,
right?
but I wanted to not decide between Vlad and Gary. I wanted one of those two.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I like Jeff Kent, and I knew that he was going to be the second baseman I was taking if he was available. But as soon as he was gone, I was like, I'm not picking second baseman. I'll let Timmy take him.
Yep.
Which is fine with me. But yeah, you are in fact up, Ryan.
So I am going to go back to the pitchers. I'm going to close out my pitchers here. And look, wasn't a very long career. It was only 12 seasons. The prime, you could argue, was better than anybody else's here, and it's Johan Santana. Johan Santana, like I said, only pitched 12 seasons from 2000 to 2012. However, the prime was unbelievable. 2 Cy Youngs, 4 All-Star games. He won a Gold Glove in that time. We could have used him.
Could have, yeah.
3-time ERA champion, 139 wins to 78 losses, a 3.20 ERA. He garnered a 51 WAR in that time.
He did, yeah.
Which was more than Carpenter, just slightly under Halladay and Sabathia, at a 1.36 ERA plus. So Santana was so dominant in his prime, and then when he got traded to the Mets, just like everything else about the Mets, he fell off the cliff.
The Mets kept netting.
But when he was with the Twins, I mean, it was a sight to behold. So just on pure talent alone, I love Johan Santana.
Well, that makes it easy you still got another pick here. But Timmy, your pitchers are already taken. So we're going to talk about them real quick.
No. We'll talk about them.
Okay.
Just like Chase Utley. I'm going to loop back around. Man, first base is so hard, dude.
Just pick one so I don't have to pick one.
I'm going to go Pujols, man.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
I'm just going to lock it up. Although I have some very positive things to say about Lance Berkman because I feel like he's, again, another very underappreciated player of his generation. Pujols, he was the man for an entire decade with the St. Louis Cardinals. Despite how bad he was with the Angels, 3-time MVP, Rookie of the Year, 11-time All-Star, won a couple Gold Gloves, only 6 Silver Slugger awards, which is pretty interesting. Although, as you can see, with Ryan Howard included, first base in the 2000s in the NL was stacked. 296 career hitter, 374 OBP, 554 slugging to bring his OPS at 918, 703 career home runs. He actually stole 117 bases, too.
Yeah.
With a 145 OPS plus and a 101.5 WAR. And this is to add on to the fact that he has an OPS over 1,000 in the postseason for his career too. When the lights get brighter, he shines brighter than the rest. So I'm going to go ahead and take Albert Pujols, knowing that I'm pretty good at first base.
Tim, you are on the clock, good sir. Loyal listeners, if you're having issues following along with Tim, he says he's got some lagging issues. I'm not really seeing it too much, but if it is there, we apologize.
It's on my side more than anything else.
You're doing a great job.
So right field, second base, and pitchers are technically closed.
And first base.
Yeah, and first base.
Correct, yeah. And we're going to close off. We're probably
Give me
going to close
McGraw Cabrera at third base.
Okay, Miggy at third. We found a loophole to, be able to fit all the talent in there by putting Miggy at third, where he started his career with the with the Florida Marlins.
Correct, yes.
But for his career, Miguel Cabrera, 2-time MVP, 12-time All-Star. That's pretty shabby right there.
Triple crown.
7-time Silver Slugger Award. 307 and 500 home runs.
Correct.
He would have fit on the grid.
He would have, yeah.
307 hitter for his career, 383 OBP, 520 slugging to bring his OPS to a 903, 508 home runs, an OPS plus of 141 with a 67.6 WAR. I don't care if you're putting prime Miguel Cabrera at third base. You're not drafting him for his defense. You're taking him because he can hit the baseball.
And listen, he's the only person
why I did that.
in our time who won a Triple Crown. I mean, it's got to be mentioned, right? Like players, it's just almost impossible to win a Triple Crown these days. You're talking best batting average, most home runs. and what am I missing here?
Batting Triple Crown, RBIs.
Batting Triple Crown, most RBIs in the season. It's extremely difficult to do. So he won a Triple Crown, which is good. So I really like the Miguel Cabrera pick there at third base. That would leave David Wright for me, but I'm not going to close that category out just yet.
No. I get a third baseman.
You do get a third, yes. Okay.
I get David Wright, the captain of the Mets.
Ooh. I'm going to go shortstop here.
Okay. Do you want the bat or the glove?
I'm gonna go with the glove. I'm gonna go with the glove on this one. I'm taking Jimmy Rollins. 47.6 wins above replacement, 264 average, 231 career home runs, 936 career RBIs, 470 stolen bases, 324 on base percentage, 418 slug, 743 OPS, 995 OPS plus. He won an MVP in 2007. He's a 3-time All-Star, 1-time World Series champion, 4 Gold Gloves, and a Silver Slugger. Listen, what Jimmy Rollins did in 2007. I mean, let's put aside all the other stuff because obviously we know more about Jimmy Rollins than we do these other guys. We watched him our entire lives. But he literally came out in 2006, said that the Phillies were the team to beat, and then he put the team on his back and carried them. What was it? 30 home runs, 30 doubles, 30 triples, or 20 triples,
20
or something
home
like
runs, 20 triples, and 30 steals.
There it is. Again, something that's extremely difficult to do, and Jimmy Rollins did it in 07, won the MVP. But the four Gold Gloves for me is really important. You know, you got to have a team that can make plays. So Jimmy Rollins is an easy pick for me here.
I'm going to say something really controversial. He's the best defensive shortstop on this list. And it's not controversial because of Miguel can't field a ground ball Tejada. It's controversial because a lot of people think Derek Jeter would be the best defensive shortstop. I disagree. Rollins is obviously not the offensive force that these other two are, but he makes up for it in speed. He has a little bit of pop and obviously great defensive prowess. So
let's see. Where am I going next? I could do I'm going to let you close out catcher for me. Center field. I could do center field. Either of those guys is fine. Left field. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm going Matt Holliday in left field. 44.5 wins above replacement for Matt Holliday. 299 career batting average. 316 home runs. 1,200 RBIs. 108 stolen bases. 379 OBP. 510 slugging. 889 OPS. 132 OPS plus. 7-time All-Star. Won a World Series. 4-time Silver Slugger. And he won a batting title. We got to see Matt Holliday a lot in the playoffs, you know, in the 08 to 2011 run.
St. Louis, Colorado.
Correct, yeah. So we saw Matt Holliday a lot, and man, he hurt the Phillies a whole bunch of times. But overall, he's just, when it comes to him versus Jason Bay, I think Holliday is the more all-around solid player. I'm taking Holliday there. That closes out that category. I don't know who gets Jason Bay's at. Timmy? Okay.
All right, Tim, you're up 702.
Give me Beltran, sorry. Carlos Beltran at center field.
All right.
All right, perfect. That means that I get Andrew Jones, which I was going to take anyway. You want to talk about it, or you want me to do it?
You can do it. If I keep pulling something up on Wi-Fi, I'm going to keep lagging out.
So Carlos Beltran did win a Rookie of the Year award. He was a 9-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glove, 2-time Silver Slugger. This is another very complete player, jack of all trades. Hit 279, 350 OBP, 486 slugging for an 837 OPS. Hit 435 home runs and also stole 312 bases, a 119 OPS plus. So you get a little bit of everything with Carlos Beltran. And to top it off, he hits from both sides of the plate.
Correct. Yeah, no, listen, all these players on this list, I like the picks because they're good players.
That's the beauty of, you know, doing a draft from a decade that's, you know, well and done is we get the best players, you know, they're not currently playing or anything like these guys are. I mean, minus Miguel Cabrera, but 703. I'm going to go back to back and we're essentially going to close out this draft here. So I am going to take Jorge Posada, who surprisingly to me almost convinced me he was the best catcher on this list in front of Joe Mauer. 5-time All-Star, 5-time Silver Slugger, 273 average, 374 OBP, so he had a great eye at the plate, which makes a lot of sense for catchers. 474 slugging, which was a really surprise to me, and an 848 OPS. Hit 275 homers, a 121 OPS plus, And as I touched on before, none of these catchers are fantastic defensively. 28% caught stealing. Dude's a winner. He won 4 World Series titles, if I'm not mistaken. So,
yes, it is, in fact, 4 World Series titles, 5-time All-Star, 5-time Silver Slugger.
So we're excited. And again, hits from both sides of the plate. And to essentially close out this draft, we'll make our selections and talk about these players. But I'm sticking with my team name, Red Sox here. We're going David Ortiz. And the big stat for me, this is what really drove it home. So we have Hall of Famer, 10-time All-Star, 7 Silver Sluggers, 286 average, 380 OBP, 552 slugging, 931 OPS, 541 homers, a 141 OPS plus, and a 55.3 WAR. All of that is fantastic. In 50-plus at-bats in the World Series, David Ortiz has a 1.372 World Series OPS. So I know that, like, when you talk about, like, an all-World Series team, David Ortiz is going to be the DH for that team. When the lights get brighter, like that, that's being good right there. So
he did win the World Series MVP that year.
Yeah, so and over 50 at-bats that are plate appearances. That's an unheard of stat. So,
Tim, you are on the clock.
Give me Frank Thomas.
The big hurt, baby.
We took Frank Thomas off the list, homie. David Ortiz, Jim Thome, or Jason Giambi?
Oh, yeah, we did. It was
the only one that's left is Jason Giambi, Tim.
That's fine. Give me him.
Okay, Tim takes Jason Giambi. 50.5 wins above replacement, 277 batting average, 440 home runs, 1,400 plus RBIs, 20 stolen bases, 399 OBP, 516 slugging, 916 OPS, 139 OPS plus. He's an MVP 1-time, 5-time All-Star, 2-time Silver Slugger. Jason Giambi. Obviously, he started his career with the Athletics and then went over to the Yankees. But it was a solid career. I mean, it's extremely solid career.
No, extremely good hitter. It's just injuries kind of derailed him for a little bit there. But if you're taking peak Giambi, it's no contest. Love that pick. Who you got?
All right,
Who do you want to talk about the most?
Yeah, let's just go down in order. I get Lance Berkman, first baseman. Lance Berkman, 52. Wins above replacement, 293 batting average, 366 home runs, over 1,234 RBIs. I chuckle because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, so I chuckle when I see it. RBIs, 406 OBP, 537 slugging percentage, 943 OPS, and a 144 OPS plus, which is phenomenal, right? 6-time All-Star, and he won 1 World Series. Again, there wasn't a first baseman that I didn't like on this list, so I had no problems letting it fall the way it did.
Yep.
So I'm super happy that I got Lance Berkman. Would I have preferred the 703 home runs? Of course I would have. But no, Lance Berkman is a nice.
And he's a switch hitter.
And yeah, I forget about that. He hits from both sides of the plate. Very important.
Another big stat for Lance Berkman: 949 postseason OPS in his career with a 1,084 World Series OPS. So again, another guy that gets better when the stage gets bigger.
Oh, I got another one, don't I?
Yep.
Okay, let's just roll right down the order. Then I got a second baseman, Chase Utley. Again, was far and above my favorite player growing up. 64. Well, growing up, I'm a little bit younger than he is. 64.5 wins above replacement, 275 batting average, 259 in home runs, over 1,000 RBIs. He did have some speed, 154 stolen bases in his career. 354 on base percentage, 465 slugging, 823 OPS, 117 OPS plus, 6-time All-Star, 1-time World Series, World effing champ, and 4-time Silver Slugger, Chase Utley. Listen, it doesn't show on the statistics that I just brought up here, but he was really, really good he was better in the field than I think he got credit for. Really gave up the body a lot, which is what ended up ruining his career. His knees were shot at the end of it. And just super impressive player to get to watch. It was just the grit, the Philly grit that people talk about. Utley had it, and I love it. So I'm cool with having him as a second baseman as well.
Embodiment of the city. Tim.
Give me Jason Bay.
Going down here to Jason.
What a disappointment. Again, another guy that got ruined by going to the Mets.
Seriously.
It's so embarrassing. But he was a Rookie of the Year, 3-time All-Star, won a Silver Slugger, looked well on his way with the Pirates, and then his career just took a downturn. Despite that, 266 batting average, 360 on base, 481 slugging. Still hit over 200 home runs at 222, which is not nearly as impressive as the other guys on this list, but his career was cut massively short by injuries. And if we're drafting this just from a talent perspective, that peak couple years in the beginning of his career with the Pirates was excellent.
You are on the clock. Who do you want to talk about?
I would like to talk about. I'll talk about Bobby.
Okay, Bobby Abreu.
Let's talk about Bobby Abreu. Bobby Abreu, two-time All-Star, one-time Gold Glove, one-time Silver Slugger. Again, another seriously underappreciated individual of this decade. 291 average, 395 OBP. He was well known for his walks. Definitely had probably like 500 more walks than strikeouts in his career.
Yeah.
475 slugging for a total of 870 OPS. 288 home runs, 400 stolen bases, so I'm getting the speed with the power. A 128 OPS plus, not as good as the other right fielders, but still I'm getting a very good all-around ball player.
Yeah, two-time All-Star, one-time Gold Glove winner, one-time Silver
Slugger. Hell of a
Slugger.
batting stance.
And yeah, lots and lots of kids are mimicking that. Second pick.
My second pick, I'll go with the captain. I'll go with David Wright. Look, I respected David Wright, which I can't say about many Mets because I can't stand the Mets. However, he was, when he was on the field, he was a daunting force, and the way that he carried himself, he deserved the C to wear on his jersey, which you don't see in baseball anymore.
Yeah, that 100-mile-an-hour fastball off his head ruined his career.
Yeah, 7-time All-Star, 2-time Gold Glove, 2-time Silver Slugger, 296 for his career with a 376 OBP, slug 491 for a total of 867 OPS. 242 home runs, 196 stolen bases, which is kind of a lot for a third baseman, a 133 OPS plus, and a 49.2 WAR. It's really about the fact that his career just kept getting decimated by injuries.
Correct. Yes.
Why? Because he played for the Mets. That's why.
Tim, who do you want to go with on this one?
CC.
Okay, so Timmy's going to take CC Sabathia. Again, not a pitcher I didn't like on this list. 62.3 WAR, 374 career ERA, 251 wins to 161 losses, over 3,000 strikeouts, 1.259 WHIP. He won a Cy Young. He was a 6-time All-Star, and he did win a World Series.
Dude was a gamer. Like he just won games. He did whatever his starting pitcher's supposed to do. He kept his team in the ball game. He's not flashy like Pedro or Roy Halladay or Randy Johnson, but 251 wins is nothing to bat an eye at. He did it by grinding out victories.
He had your teammates back. I can tell you that one. Gave up a big payday to get thrown out of the game.
You're 100% right. He did. So the game that Timmy is referring to, I forget who got hit on the Yankees, but CC needed to pitch into the 7th inning to get a huge payday from the Yankees. And instead, in the 6th inning, with one out, he threw a fastball that hit intentionally the batter for the other team. I forget what the direct.
I do remember the scenario like very vaguely, so I know what you're talking about.
Fortunately, the Yankees did end up giving him the payday, realizing what he gave up to have the teams back. All right, let's see here. I am up.
I'll just put in both of these players, and then we can talk about Andrew Jones and Victor Martinez.
Okay. So I get Andrew Jones in center field. Not upset about that at all. I was actually watching the Cubs and Braves game earlier. He was out in center field at Wrigley Field.
Power and glove.
Yeah, Andrew Jones, 62.7 wins above replacement, 254 batting average for his career, 434 home runs, 1,200 plus RBIs. He also had 152 stolen bases. He had a 337 OBP, 486 slug, which comes out to an 823 OPS, and 111 OPS plus. 5-time All-Star, 10-time Gold Glove, one of the best center fielders I've ever had the pleasure of watching. And he was a Silver Slugger once.
It's a shame his career peaked out so early. I mean, he was in the majors at 19, and he looked like he was going to be the next greatest thing.
Yes.
It looked like he was going to challenge Barry Bonds as like the best player ever. And then by the time he hit 30, he was just it's like, other players hitting 35. He just fell off the cliff. And it's really a shame. But
I mean, if you remember when he was really young, the Braves didn't he had like no days off in that Braves lineup, the 95, 96 Braves. I'm sorry, the later Braves. But he just workhorse is the word that I would use, and which is probably what derailed his career at 30 rather than 35. But again, I'm very happy with Andrew Jones. I also get Victor Martinez as a catcher, 32 wins above replacement, which I know is not super impressive. But he's got a 295 career batting average, 246 home runs, over 1,100 RBIs. His A whopping 7 stolen bases. I don't know why I even put that on there.
If they had under 100, I didn't even put it.
360 on base percentage, 455 slug for 815 OPS, 118 OPS plus, 5-time All-Star, 2-time Silver Slugger. Listen, as catchers go, if I wasn't getting Mauer, the other two guys were like an even trade for me. So I'm okay with Victor Martinez.
Chris Carpenter for me.
Yep, you get Chris Carpenter. Well, I know for a fact that when Bill runs Roy Halladay out there, you're going to beat him 1-0.
Come on, man. Why you got to bring up that tragic stuff to me, man?
Man, that was such a heartbreaker, dude. I feel so bad for Roy Halladay, but man, did Chris Carpenter's like CC Sabathia. Dude just grinded out wins. That's what he did during his career. We're talking about a guy who won a Cy Young Award, actually. He had a fantastic season that year. 3-time All-Star, won an ERA title, a 116 ERA plus, 34.2 WAR, 144.94 for his career with a 376 ERA. But Chris Carpenter was a gamer, and at the peak of his career with the Cardinals right there, he was one of the best,
absolutely,
throughout the
100%,
2000s.
yeah.
So, but last pick of the draft, Mr. Irrelevant's going to be Miguel Tejada, who was part of. He's, the most left out person on Moneyball because he's actually a large portion of the reason why those Oakland A's were winning games. He won the MVP that year, if I remember correctly.
He did, in fact, yeah.
This is a guy who, when I asked Bill if he wanted the bat or the glove, this is a guy who struggled to feel routine ground balls from time to time, but he was an MVP anyway, 6-time All-Star, 2-time Silver Slugger, 285 average, 336 on base percentage, 456 slugging for an OPS of 791, hit over 300 home runs, a 108 OPS plus, so slightly above average hitter. At the peak of his career, though, before he kind of died off with the Orioles and the Royals there, I believe.
Yeah.
He prime Oakland, beginning stages of the Orioles. Miguel Tejada was awesome with the bat. You could find probably no better hitting shortstop.
And won a home run derby, throwing it out there.
Yeah, won a home run derby. So that concludes this draft. We will let you guys in the comments and those listeners decide who drafted the best team. Just to run it through for you, Bill has Randy Johnson, Alex Rodriguez, Jim Thome, Roy Halladay, Vladimir Guerrero, Jimmy Rollins, Matt Holliday, Lance Berkman, Chase Utley, Andrew Jones, and Victor Martinez. Bill has Todd Helton, Derek Jeter.
No, Tim has.
You're both the same. Tim has Todd Helton, Derek Jeter, Joe Mauer, Alfonso Soriano, Gary Sheffield, Miguel Cabrera, Carlos Beltran, Jason Giambi, Jason Bay, CC Sabathia, and Chris Carpenter. Ryan Red Sox has Manny Ramirez, Pedro Martinez, Jim Edmonds, Jeff Kent, Johan Santana, Albert Pujols, Jorge Posada, David Ortiz, Bobby Abreu, David Wright, and Miguel Tejada. Calling to the Bill pen to finish this one out.
Yeah, so we'd like to thank Tim again for jumping on and doing this with us. If nothing changes in his personal life, you'll get the luxury of seeing him again next week. If he agrees, obviously. I'm not telling him he has to do anything he doesn't want to do, but I assume we're doing this next week. So again, thanks to Tim. Again, thanks to Orphan Rivers. Thanks to Immaculate Grid. And thanks for joining us here on BSing Sports, where we do a little BS and we talk a whole lot of sports. Have a good night.